Shanks Cassiopeia, it is something to behold when you do see it. But banning the Rakan as well is their final one. More AD carries available on the board. Varus is available. Aphelios is available. So some of those power picks that we have seen over the last few weeks could come into play here for game number 3 of the series. And we'll see what the priorities are going to be. I mean, Hope's Aphelios definitely terrifying. Do we see Lucian again? Do we see Draven again? Or do we see something like the Varus come out for light?
Lucian Nami. It's looking like it's going to be Lucian Nami with the early lock in here. Maybe he moves to something else, but I doubt it, right? Not much reason to. And Weibo again, go with this Vi priority, which should spell. Yep, Lisa hit for Heng, and he had a game on it in the previous one, always looking for proactive plays, and found them. He did quite a few kicks. Couple wayward, but not necessarily all his fault. But definitely see he's got the potential to turn things around. It's just going to be Aphelios Lulu, Nami Lucian. It's a bit resident sleeper, but we know what to expect out in at the very least. So there shouldn't be anything that catches us off guard. We'll see whether or not any of the solo laners perhaps give us something to talk about, which isn't exactly something we've been seeing for a little while now.
Yeah, we'll see what the bans are going to be. It wouldn't surprise me to see something like the Kennen band once again, just with how terrifying that has been. But that said, if you ban the Kennen, it does kind of open up for a Jax as well. So taking away the Scion for the side of Weibo, perhaps could go for a carry for TheShy. Do you just want to away Nah this WE? Like, TheShy could have blind pick here. I don't think you want to go against his blind Nah. Like, he's comfortable picking Nah in any scenario.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a pretty good call here. Remove away the Nah. Don't deal with it from WE, and there you go. That will come in, and now for Weibo, what do they also look at? Just the team fight potential of Biubiu on the Kennen. Will this prompt a Cassante ban? Will that finally be taken off the board here from WE, I guess is the next big question, or will they just go towards a lane bully? Hell, will they just look at taking away Xiaohu's Ahri? That's also another viable option I feel like you can remove, even though it's not necessarily shown a very threatening level from Weibo. I think just kind of having it off the table makes things potentially a little more awkward, but at the same time it could make things very telegraphed. I think those are the two options, so we get the Cassante.
Importantly, TheShy, he's had his Cassante band and his Nah band. Yeah. That constitutes 23 of his games this split. His next most played is the Renekton on only 3 games. TheShy has basically been a 2-trick up at the top side with 15 games on Cassante, 7 games on Nah. But now we're locking that Renekton, and he has played a few games on other champions. And obviously it's TheShy. We know that he's good at many champions, but the Renekton going to come on through. And again, early presence in the lanes for Weibo. Because WE need to figure out what they want to take up against this Renekton.
I think they're considering the Ornn, and if they lock in the Ryze and also go the Ornn, whilst they would obviously forego basically a majority of your early game playmaking tools, it's a hard scaling lane, and if they feel like Weibo can't close out on a lead, which hasn't necessarily been out of character for them, it makes a lot of sense, and that's what they're going to do. They're just going to go, you know what, we don't think you can in the first 20 minutes of the game, and we're going to scale up, and we're going to be team fight monsters. And the Ornn does go through, and that's up to Weibo and what they want to do about the scaling matchup, because they have to try and match it somewhere, because right now it's Renekton on the top side, it's Lucian, Nami on the bottom side. The obvious other route is to go something like Taliyah here and try and slam the early game, and it seems like that's exactly what we're going to get here from Weibo.
Yeah, Taliyah locked in to go with Karsa's Vi, so Karsa locks him up. You go for the flick back, do the damage. But priority in going to be the name of the game. Weibo have to have a dominant early game. We need to see Karsa getting aggressive onto Heng with his laners, right? Using that priority to force advantages, make dives in the side lanes. We need domination in the early game for Weibo, because they're scaling on W side. Man, I don't even want to talk about it. Ornn, Ryze, and Aphelios as your scaling lanes. That is disgusting in the late for them. Whereas Weibo fighting to be in that top 4. WE sending players into the bot brushes. So are Weibo, though. Everyone going to spot each other, realize what's going on here, and back away. Already a weird start. Wait, that's like just keep calm and carry on. It's the brick cast. What are the odds?
Huh. Well,
God
it's like it's Where's my beans on toast? Whilst we're at it.
What? Hang? I mean, we have had some suspect flashes this series, Jamada. Biubiu in game 2, just flashing over the wall at level
1. What?
I mean, it's just... All right, let's move on. Let's talk early game. So
Save me.
No flash as he starts on his chickens here. Karsa going to be starting on the red buff. How do Weibo play out this early game? We're saying that they need to be aggressive. We're saying that they need to find a big lead early on. How do you do that with this? Are we really going to watch a replay?
I can't ignore it if it's in the pit. Wait. Huh?
Ah, nice. He dodged the vision. Smart flash.
But what is he dodging? He went back to the chip. Okay, early game for Weibo.
Anyway, early game plan for Weibo. Talk to me, Jamada. Talk me through it.
So you've got setup in all 3 lanes, Munch. So the options are quite open in the early game. You've got the burst potential of Nami Lucian. You've got the CC and burst potential of Renekton. And you have the CC and burst potential of Taliyah. So for Karsa, it's all about being in the right place at the right time, but also the laners of Weibo to set up for Karsa to ensure that they can actually find these picks in the first place. So there has to be a really nice dance between the jungler of Weibo and his laners. However, on the bottom side, like you just saw, WE find a really good trade and they immediately force the heal of Crisp. And with this priority, Heng is going to go look for some information. See that the blue buff is gone, but the Gromp is not. And then he'll spot Karsa out with that ward, but Karsa will also see it, so they know where each other are.
Yeah, Karsa saw it just before it vanished there. That was about as close as you could have got. Will be able to finish his Gromp. No chance of contesting that one, but should be able to get this bot scuttle crab off the back of the priority in the bottom side. Ignite actually coming out from light just to try and poke Lwandy, try and even things up in the bottom side as TheShy going aggressive here. Delays his stun, but Biubiu with a nice little charge times it right so that it still goes off despite the stun.
Yeah, not bad from both sides. You can see how they're just trying to weave and dance around the interactions of the lane there. Brittle, however, was still procced onto TheShy, so Biubiu finds himself in half decent trade. Not bad, but again, you know, the pressure is always going to feel really heavy when you don't know where Karsa is. If Karsa's in fog of war for an extended period of time and you take a trade like that, you have to be wondering, as a WE member, am I being dove? Is this wave that's being stacked going to result in a play? Anything like that is always a question that will be on your mind. As Karsa is on the top side here, and there's that preemptive ward from Biubiu to try and spot this out, but I don't think off the blue buff is he even going to look for this for now? He's cutting away more towards the river. It seems like that won't be a play that's taken. So again, you know, I feel like as Weibo, you want to be looking for every and any play that you can find. And so far, nothing has come to it.
Yeah, so a blue buff is the only benefit that they found so far. It's a very nice trade from Biubiu onto TheShy, who's desperately trying to crash this wave in. Wants to get that underneath the tower and maybe needs to go for a reset as well at that point. But he's not going to be able to crash it because there's another wave here. So just holding it just out of reach off the tower. Tongue just going to continue to clear up. TheShy does have a lot of sustain, as you can see. He was about 100 HP 2 minutes ago. He's back to over half. As Karsa now
this is
sneaking in.
This is really interesting. So both junglers are reading this as a counter gank, as opposed to actually looking for a gank of their own. Karsa's waiting for Heng to potentially show up, and Heng is waiting for Karsa to show up.
Oh, TheShy just flashes away from the Sonic wave. But now Karsa hasn't been spotted, stays in the lane. Does Biubiu push out with the wave? No, absolutely not. It would have been foolish too, but we've seen foolish things from Biubiu literally today. So I wouldn't put it past him. As TheShy will just clear this wave and now finally gets that reset off.
Yeah, he's been looking for it for a while. I expect both top laners here will just TP back to lane, and that will continue. But again, this intricate dance is one that, in the long run, will likely benefit WE. Now, I guess if we're not being as critical as perhaps we need to be with Weibo, even if they don't find some early leads in the laning phase, all of these champions do spike greatly on one item, right? It looks like TheShy. I mean, he's only got a pickaxe, but I imagine he's going to go towards a Blade of the Ring King, maybe. Maybe he's looking for a bit of snowball. Maybe he's not. We'll see what his build ends up being. It could build into the Iron Spike Whip, of course. But everyone else across the board. Mandate plus Gale Force. Xiaohu can basically go whatever item he wants, but it looks like he's going for a more scaly build of the tier. But they can, in like 10 minutes time, once those items are in, then start to look for proactive plays. They'll be stronger than WE should be champion to champion.
Yeah.
So they can still rely and fall back on that.
Yeah, that's the thing about early game competitions. It's not always just about laning specifically. It's about being able to use the coordination, be able to use those ultimates together. Like Xiaohu moving out to the side lanes with the Weaver's Wall, comboing with Karsa's ultimate as well. TheShy using that dominance to influence early Dragon and Herald fights as well. Like Renekton in those kind of neutral objective fights is an absolute monster to be dealt with.
He will be. And he will be for a while as well, because the damage that Hope and Shanks have to offer shouldn't be that high for a little while. Again, I guess it depends on what build TheShy really opts to go for, right? Does he go for kind of being a bit of a bulky frontliner, sort of Gore Drinker, Sterax, that kind of esque build, or does he go for kind of an assassin-y build, 1v1 early stages of walk? That's the big thing.
Yeah,
because I feel like Weibo...
Prowler's Claw to one-shot Hope.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you know, it is at times, though, the way that you have to play something like the Renekton, if you're not really going to be able to provide much of a meat shield, and I feel like the DPS, the potential CC as well, is going to be so irritating to deal with that as a Renekton, I don't feel like you really want to do anything besides try and be an assassin. But I won't dwell on it too much. We'll see. TheShy is TheShy.
Yeah.
And oftentimes he surprises us. And that works both ways, positively and negatively.
And it's kind of insane to see like how close this series has been between the two teams. Because when you think about the rosters on paper, like the top 3 players on either side, it's very heavily skewed towards Weibo in terms of just name value. But one of the interesting things I think in this matchup is the fact that with Hope on this WE roster, Lwandy alongside him as well, both of these players having been, if not the best, then, you know, top 3 in their roles over the last couple of years, at least at times, as Lwandy, trying to prove me wrong there, always going down to the culling from Light. As Heng walks over a ward, so Light and Crisp should be safe. But also, Light up against his old support on LNG, right? Light and Lwandy, that was the LNG roster. That had so much hype around them, and Light and Lwandy being one of the big parts of the roster, the reason that it was working at the time. Now it's Light Crisp on Weibo, and Lwandy alongside Hope, who, you know, LPL champion over from JDG.
A lot of history, a lot of prestige amongst many of these players. Unsurprisingly, as is the LPL's mid lane, it's a real nice sidestep from that seismic shove. I think that could have very easily been a go button for Karsa here, as they've not necessarily found all the marks whilst he was panning down towards the bottom side and such. What's the point? They still want it.
Oh, Karsa goes in, tidal wave onto everyone as well. Look at the CC chain onto Lwandy. The polymorph is not enough. Karsa somehow surviving, but in the meantime is Heng forced away. Shanks gets the kill. Xiaohu's dived so deep for this, and it's Hope to arrive on the scene as Light was still in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, all of this focus is going on to Lwandy, and I just have to ask the question, why not Shanks? He's right there in front of them as well. I get that the bubble connected at the very start of it, but I mean, even if you blow up Lwandy, it feels like just leaving Lee Sin and Ryze to just gun at you with damage doesn't feel like the right call from Weibo. And they get punished. Xiaohu just sees red. He wants to try and trade the kill.
Yeah.
And that's how that exchange plays out. Now Heng, he wants that skull, but TheShy is going to deny it.
Yeah, knows that Heng is low on HP, knows he can take this one for himself. But Hope just crashing this wave and moving so much earlier. Let's just say the combo CC's there, but it's too much.
I get it, right? I get it. At the end of the day, they're so close to bursting down Lwandy. It's not like it's out of the question that they could, but you want to kill Ryze here. You want to kill Lee Sin. You want to kill one of the damage dealers first, in my mind, but that's how it falls down on the retreat as well. It's just one of those things where Taliyah can't really follow up either.
No. And no mana on Xiaohu, no mana on Crisp during that fight, although barely any mana on Shanks either. it felt like a bit of a dicey engage coming out from Weibo. And the thing is, well, we talked about the aggressive early composition from Weibo. These are the guys that should be powerful. They should be at an advantage. But when we don't have mythics online for anyone on Weibo, when items aren't there, when mana isn't there for the team, they can't take these fights. And an early gold lead, still slightly in favor of Weibo, but you'd expect them to be doing more with it for the time being. These Drakes, though, could be the key as the second one on the map, and Weibo already having the first in their pocket.
I mean, comically, despite the gold lead, they're actually down in items in the carry department, right? Shanks and Hope both have their mythics online, whereas Xiaohu, like, they're still searching for theirs. And with that in mind, W might feel confident enough to already try and contest this dragon. That's a TP down to the bot side. So are they going to force a play through Karsa as TheShy all in?
Yeah, Biubiu trying to go for this one. I'm not sure he's got the damage as a good charge comes on through. TheShy follows it, but won't be able to finish the job. Ult for ult in the top side. I think Biubiu potentially just trying to force the all in so that TheShy doesn't have his ultimate and can't come and influence this play on the bottom side. Weaver's wall. Only bot side Lwandy. Can they find the kill? Dodges away from the bubble. It's not going to be enough. He goes down, but at what cost? Karsa kicks back and taken out. Heng escapes.
Wow.
And it's a 1-for-1, but a jungler taken right before the Drake.
Heng has been so on point with his Lee Sin in so many engages in the last 2 games. Goes in, manages to get out with just a sliver of HP. It's enough. And again, you know, a trade goes 1-for-1. And for WE, composition to composition, they don't mind this. Right now, Weibo aren't setting up for a super early soul. They're gonna have to reset at the very least before they can consider it. And even at that point, what, we're looking at maybe almost 25 minutes? At the rate that WE are going, they're gonna be ready. They're gonna be ready to fight that. And hey, even Karsa drops the Herald in the top side. He's opening out onto the top side of the map. So this picked up now alleviates even that point of pressure for Team WE.
Yeah. If you started head down, just in case Weibo were going to fight it as well as TheShy TP to the top side. If Hope gets knocked back here, maybe it's a one play, but Karsa going in, knocked up by the wild growth, and then just kicked back by Heng. Beautiful from WE.
Yeah, really well executed mechanically on the turnaround. Nothing else to say. Now, top side, plates will go down. Will TheShy... No, I thought he was going to try and creed for the tower, and he certainly attempted to, but not close enough. Xiaohu.
Oh, he's rooted. Do they have the damage? Well, yes, they do have the damage. My goodness. Shanks on 3 kills on this Ryze right now. The scaling picks are going to skip the early game entirely. He's already scaled practically.
At this pace, yeah, like the row has been there for a couple minutes already. Tier will, I beg your pardon, soon enough be completed into an Archangels, and at what point you have to wonder, will Weibo actually find a positive fight? First items, again, we said, if they don't find leads in the early game, that first item will be that break point where they can start to be a little more in the face of WE, but I mean, again, setting the pace as they are right now, it's not going to look good as TheShy being picked on as flash, but isn't going to be able to use it. He's just dead.
Instantly. It's basically a melee ult from Biubiu. I'm not sure you even can flash that unless you flash towards him. Taken out. A great little pick from WE, a great lane swap, and it sets up Hope to potentially just take this tier 1 tower. He's up there totally alone. And they don't even have a man advantage in the mid lane, Weibo, because they've lost their top laner. Yep, Shanks is here. Lwandy hung off on the side. Shanks will clear the wave. And Weibo, they just can't do anything about it. It feels like WE not only having the superior scaling in their composition, but having a better mind for macro so far this game.
Yep. WE outdoing Weibo, plain and simple. This is the kind of game where sitting at, I mean, hell, they're almost up 1,000 gold, but like, being even in a game like this feels like you're up 2,000. You know, like, the way that your composition works is so simple. It's just front to back. You let the enemies run at you, and you just mow them down with your Ryze and with your Aphelios. And Weibo haven't been able to displace that just yet. They could maybe at this Herald, but I mean, TheShy.
Oh no. Once again going for Hope, but he just doesn't have the damage. Oh, has the sustain though. Walks away with his life for the time being. The Caliber, not quite enough. Oh, he burns. I'm not even sure what killed him at that point, but does go down. Biubiu could be answered as well. The Weaver's Wall walks through it. What just happened? As he gets underneath the tower, the Gale Force is enough to finish him off. Is Ornn just immune to walls now?
Ornn is immune to a lot of things. A lot of things. I don't know how he did it, but at the very least he died. All right, you know, I think this is the part where in chat, you know, everyone just spams Riot, and then we move on. It's simple as that. I think on the back end, what caught TheShy was the fact that Hope still had Gravitum. I think he pulled it back in. I think that's what it was. I think I saw the particle fly. Let's get a look. Instant replay, as it were. So the first route comes in, flashes the Sonic Wave, goes in on top of Hope, but has no extra damage. A lot of sustain, but gets hit by the Caliber. The first bit of damage comes in, fires it, and then pulls it back. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's what catches TheShy. But this is...
I was so sure he was stuck there.
Yeah, that's
he
interesting.
Just strolls on it.
That's interesting. You know, Ornn builds a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Taliyah's not really at that level of mastery when it comes to forging. So clearly, Ornn, at the end of the day, he's the forge god.
I get where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
you don't forge walls. It's just not the same
you
thing.
can,
Building and forging, not the same at all.
But Ornn specializes probably in weapons that break walls, right?
He's being broken right now. His armor's certainly been broken by Karsa. Xiaohu should be able to finish the kill off. It's a good knock-up, but it's not going to be enough. As Shanks, you know, had a bit of damage onto TheShy. It's better than nothing. And hang on, Crisp has been caught in the mid lane. And suddenly WE turn it back into an even play. Herald clear, so at least the tier 1 survives.
Huh. I mean, again, it just feels like anytime Weibo find an inch, W just take it back. They're just like, okay, we'll find the cross map.
Yeah.
Every single time without fail.
Oh, great little flick back from Xiaohu, though. Some good damage onto Heng. As Lwandy low on HP as well. This should be enough to open up a Drake for Weibo here. But you're absolutely right. Every single time Weibo find an inch, somewhere else on the map they find an int. Biubiu. Gonna try and charge. Ward placed. Lwandy desperately wants to fight for mid prior, but there's just no way he can do it by himself. And Weibo forced out of river to contest this wave. Lwandy so close to going down from the Gale Force. That's flash
Here we go.
right now. And the Forge God mows him down. Taken down under Hoover's Hope is diving 2 towers. The madman ends up sacrificing his own life to make it happen. But at least got 1. Hope just going absolutely super sick, going absolutely crazy. But Drake secured by WE.
Yeah, you know what, Hope? Sometimes you die like that, and that's okay. I can respect it enough as already in the lead, they'll get this dragon. And WE setting themselves up for a lot of success. This in the picture-in-picture is how Crisp gets caught out. Oh, it's just... Okay, I actually think... I think maybe wanted to warp up.
He was trying to warp up for sure.
It's one of those moments, because look, I think the angle that he placed it... No, he was definitely looking for the kick. I just saw it on live. Yeah, he was looking for the kick. That's so funny. But they still find him with the way, because Graviton was there. And they get the play on the cross map yet again. It just feels like it's the theme. It's the theme here for WE. As replay comes in, Light just doesn't have enough damage. I think he could have been also looking for the Ignite as well, and that would kill off Lwandy, but unfortunately, he's nothing more than a human vulnerable for Biubiu on this Ornn. As, like I say, Hope was a bit Super Saiyan. Unfortunately, takes more tower shots than his health bar can sustain, and dies for the trouble. But again, you know, even gold, 20 minutes with this composition, you feel like you're up to 3,000-4,000 gold.
It's feeling good for WE. A lot of summoners on cooldown, especially Hopes. And I feel like we're looking towards Xiaohu this game at this point. Like 3-2-2. He's getting close to finishing his Seraphs. Maybe Xiaohu needs to be the miracle worker. His flickbacks have been on point so far this game. But is it going to be enough? Because no matter the compositions, if you can play the map well, if you can find a couple of picks, if WE make mistakes, it's always winnable.
Yeah,
Whether or not that'll happen. Look at the damage onto Chris. He almost one-shots him from over the wall.
That's absurd. That is so much damage available to Hope already. And, you know, I was going to say, we're actually... one thing I've noticed about League of Legends in 2023 is that first damage hasn't died. And,
no, it has not.
But Heng has. Heng has very much died.
You may as well just continue your previous point.
With that in mind, scaling doesn't really matter as much as it used to back in the day because execution is just kind of king. As Chris flash away
from Chris. Wait, he actually gets out. He swims his way to victory as Karsa surviving as well. Shanks not going to follow up on the ult. It gives him vision, but won't go for it. This has been a weird couple of minutes of gameplay, honestly. As WE really scrapping to try and find a pick, but not quite finding it. Now TheShy, next target on the chopping block as Shanks moves down. Dodge on the Q. The stun should come on through. The Dominus slice and dice will be rooted. Flash available, and he will have to flash underneath his tower.
Okay. Loses the flash. This is one of the strangest feeling games I feel like I've cast this year.
Feels like the pacing is off, you know?
It's just off beat. It's just off key, just a bit, but it makes sense. I don't know how to describe it. It's so strange. It's bizarre. But I guess on the bright side of WE, they'll take that. They can see them all.
Oh dear. I'm glad Chris went for the sweeper there because that got real awkward and he's walked away too close. Shanks is so tanky though. Colin finally comes out. Hope actually tanking for his mid laner as he charges on in. Hope is so aggressive and he's punished once again. Just diving into the enemy team as Aphelios. WE low on HP. So away, but Weaver's wall comes on through. Shanks getting 1v1 by Xiaohu here. Seismic shove dodged away from. That spot in the wall is WE's best friend. As now another solo laner walks away from it.
What? How has it happened again, man? How? It just keeps on working out for them. Oh my god.
They've got a partnership with LNG. It has to be because there's a little leaning banner on that wall. That's the company that owns LNG.
Oh my god. Alright, well, Shanks. No analysis, just a question mark thing. Why are we here? Frankly, but it works out. They don't actually have the burst damage to kill him. But you know who does have burst damage? Hope. But you know who steps too far forward trying to get that burst damage down? Hope. So, he dies for it. And yeah, I think Hope might have to rein himself in a touch. Because he is very pivotal and very crucial to WE's damage output. And Weibo won't shyly look away if he oversteps like that.
I feel like Hope is feeling the pressure, right? He is playing so aggressively. It feels like he is trying to single-handedly carry this game. He is desperate to be that hyper carry. But, I mean, he doesn't have the items online, really, for Aphelios to be that at this point in the game. But every single fight going so aggressive, punished for it this time. Drake coming up, though, in 9 seconds, Jamada. Is 2 already for WE with control of the river.
Yeah, with control of the river is actually the scarier part, in my opinion, because walking through chokes against Ryze, against Ornn, it's so difficult. And, I mean, you can try and force through it, but they should just defend it really well, WE. They're going to just peel away now because the Dragon's about to be finished off and potentially look for a fight on the back end. What do they want here? Weibo can't really pull the trigger.
Shanks is going to pull and try and find his way onto this player. They take out Karsa, and now they're looking for more as well. Moonlight Vigil is Venom, and it's not enough. As TheShy jumps into the fray, Shanks Zonya's away from the bubble. TheShy has to back away again. Another pick for WE. Baron is up on the map. They're headed that way. Are they confident enough to go for this?
This, I don't know.
Karsa's dead.
I'm a little bit too delirious for proper analysis at this point, but this is audacious. It depends on how Weibo feel, and it feels like they're not willing to take the flip. They aren't willing to take the flip. Crisp with a bubble?
I don't think they realized WE were actually going for it until Crisp came on in.
Okay.
The smite through from WE, and they've just taken a Dragon and a Baron and walked away with it scot-free. Weibo are just being shown up here today.
This is not a good look for Weibo, but this is the problem with them as a team. We've said it so many times. They will play at the level of their opponents on occasion, and it feels like it's happening here again. As that kick as well from Heng was excellent, but doesn't quite find any additional kills. But what it does find is enough pressure for WBG to get this Baron, and now on the map, you expect they'll look for more towers.
Yeah. And I just want to mention as well, like, I don't think that this is just Weibo playing at the level of their opponents necessarily. I think this is WE stepping up. They've looked good in their recent series, and now bringing out a scaling comp, basically saying, look, Weibo, we don't think that you have a good enough early game to just beat us in the first 15 minutes. And they were absolutely right. And now, outscaling Weibo, even in gold, but 3 dragons in their favor, scaling in their favor, and clearly team fighting in their favor based on this early game. Like WE, have played an absolute blinder in this series, and it feels like Weibo are out of sorts and are running out of answers unless some kind of miracle can happen in the next few minutes. It's feeling very WE favored. Karsa going in onto Heng, but it's just going to be a little bit of a trade between the junglers.
Phenomenal. A lot of damage. Here we go, man.
We said they need a miracle. They found hope. The guide has been too aggressive all game long. Weaver's wall from Xiaohu as he wants more. Lwandy flashes away. Biubiu slams his face into the wall as he's being chased down by Xiaohu. I think he should be able to get away.
Yeah. W again for a seismic shove. They're on like the same cooldown too. They're on the same cooldown, the seismic shove and the bellows breath, so he's never going to get caught out on the chase down, unfortunately for Xiaohu. But we said it right before the Baron went down as well. Hope needs to rein himself in, but he's just overstepped again, and Weibo punish appropriately. And that's the thing, like, you can't just walk over Weibo. Even if they're, you know, not playing at the highest level that we've seen from them ever, and WWE are stepping up, it's not like they'll just watch you grief in front of them. As Hope, again, just too far forward, caught the seismic shove, Vio can't move dead. Simple as that. Easy peasy. And of course, no kills on the chase down, but it has to be said, Hope just has to take a moment to not necessarily be the playmaker. Just follow up on what the rest of your team are doing around you, and you guys can cruise to a series win, which theoretically could be as good as locking in playoff today. Like, it's not mathematically locked in, of course, but 8 wins is looking more and more like the line to cross.
Certainly is feeling that way. 1,000 gold lead for WE. 1 minute on the clock. And you can see those Ornn items starting to get handed out. The Gale Force has been upgraded. Jack Show upgraded for himself. And you can anticipate probably the Rod of Ages for Shanks up next as well. Shanks actually managed to steal the Gromp away on top of everything else, as if WE needed another advantage. And Heng even gets a Q onto the blue buff. These little things don't necessarily matter that much, but it just feels good for WE. A team wanting to make playoffs. Like you say, 8 wins might just be that number that makes it in for them. It won't secure it today, but it might be enough to secure it across the course of this week. TP coming through from TheShy. They have to fight the streak, surely. 20 seconds until Chemtech Soul is on the map. Yeah, Chemtech Soul would unironically kind of be a bit annoying to deal with. The healing and shielding for Aphelios will be huge. The damage reduction as well. All of that stacked up could make him a bit of a pseudo tank with Lwandy, giving him all of those buffs. And Weibo don't want to have to deal with that. Not with this composition. Not all. I mean, we saw how hard it is for them to kill Biubiu already. Yeah. Never mind Chemtech Soul in play. Big damage coming out from Shanks onto TheShy. That's Dominus burnt already. He can back away with his phase rush, but he's locked down due to health damage. Sonya's comes out. Wild Growth as well. They can turn a burn on the Drake here, but it's Shanks still committed to the play. Big damage coming out in Burnham. Isn't going to connect, and TheShy's in the fray. Weibo perhaps with an opportunity, but TheShy taking the Heng goes down. Karsa charging in. Lwandy low on HP. And Xiaohu with a double kill. Light wants Biubiu. He wants more. Weibo finally finding themselves a fight. Oh, finally, it's Shanks just sat in isolation for too long. He takes so long to die, but WE can't actually respond. The Weaver's Wall as well played a bit of a part in that. And Hope wasn't able to get out the damage that he really needed to try and turn that fight around. You start to see it for a brief moment, but a seismic shove catches him from Xiaohu and locks him down in place, and he drops. Weibo pull a miracle out of almost thin air. Something magical coming for Weibo here. And every single time I count Weibo out this game, they find themselves an opportunity. They did it in the mid lane, now they do it around Dragon Soul. Shanks just too far forwards. Caught out.
Exactly, and the thing is for Hope as well, he never finds the correct time to get a good Inferno out, and this Ornn ult flies backwards. That could have been crucial in repositioning Weibo for just a brief moment for Hope to really be ready to get this damage out, but caught by the seismic shove, and without him, damage falls drastically, and Shanks already dead. There is no more damage left for WE, and Weibo find that moment of life to keep them in this game at even footing.
They're still going. They're still holding on. WE, though, you'd anticipate still with the advantage ultimately. That's red and white as well for Hope if a fight were to kick off soon. Baron is onto the map, and Xiaohu and Karsa have just started this one off.
Oh.
No vision here for the side of
they
WE.
don't know. They don't know. Now they know, but it's too late.
There, but it's too late. Look at it. 3,000 on the Baron is going to be taking the tidal wave used just to buy space. Weibo just pull a Baron out of thin air, and WE, they try and use the inside track in the mid lane, but with Baron recalls, you know that Weibo are going to get there in time to defend it. And that's a heartbreak for WE. Caught out. And I was saying WE's macro was better, but Weibo pulled the wool over their eyes.
Yeah, and that's just a really, really well played Baron takedown from Weibo. Just dancing with the Scuttle Vision, and because the focus was recently just on that bottom side, WE didn't have setup yet on the top side of the map, so Baron goes over, and now Weibo have the opportunity to just sneak this one away. And thank you so very much, observers, just showing us how that happens, right? Q&E over the wall, and that first blue ward doesn't catch them in the bush for it to be seen. It's a different placement on the blue ward, and they spot it. That's a difference maker here.
So exceptionally close, and now threading it in 2 lanes. TheShy is up top. He saw the demolish proc was massive there. And threat in the mid lane. Shanks trying to get a flank there, but it means TheShy has entrance into this top side as Xiaohu is starting to hit hard now. A third of Biubiu's health gone just from one little combo there. Which Biubiu, he's a big old tank. You're not meant to be able to hit him that much.
No, definitely not. Doesn't really have you know, a lot of HP in this build right now, because he's got effectively Jack Show scaling HP, and that's about it. He's got no other tank items with HP attached to them. So even though he's got resistances, he doesn't have the health bar to deal with that. And now Weaver's Wall comes out. He's going to push WE back slightly farther. WE, you can see they're angling for something with Shanks. They want to fight, but they don't want to overextend and lose a fight here. You lose a fight here, you lose the game.
Yeah. Still a minute of Baron buff for Weibo. Just trying to use those cannons to threaten the in here. Heng goes in, but he doesn't ban the kick. Knocked off, the bubble is there as well. Karsa still going.
Here we go.
He's taken down. Weibo start the fight strong. TheShy getting into the middle of everyone. Redemption comes out for WE.
Lwandy
taken down. Lwandy found as TheShy gets a stun onto Shanks. Still 3 strong for WE. They're fighting away, but it's another takedown top for top. Hope has to make a miracle happen here.
Oh, the damage!
Shanks is there, pushing forwards. Both of them golden, and Shanks backing away, taken down. Weibo on a knife's edge, but they're winning out the fight. It's a miracle for Weibo. It looked like it was lost, but a series of miracles, in fact, might just be enough for them to end the game. Hope trying to hold on, but light takes him down. Accepts his own death in trade for Weibo, finding a 10th win, getting double digits. And 2 of them have died.
Wait a minute.
They can't end.
No! Oh, such a good call as well. Weaver's Wall. Can you believe what just happened?
Jesus.
What?
What is this series, Jamada? This entire series has been so wacky. Like 2 of them dying to the tower. They had minions.
Dude, I'm going skits. I really am. This kick could have been great, but like Gale Force plus a dash, it's great. And then at that point, they're effectively dead. We're waiting on Shanks. We're waiting on Hope to find the damage. And you can see it slowly but surely over the course of the team fight, but towards the end, when Weibo just briefly overstep, it could have been too much. As we're out of the picture, they're fighting again.
Oh,
dead.
no. Heng is caught, but it's traded for TheShy, so not too bad actually. And through the super wave as well, so no pressure on the Nexus right now. Remember, there are no Nexus towers, so Shanks has to deal with the super minions. If the super minions push into the base, the game ends for WE. So they have to be on it with that top lane wave. But get themselves onto the dragon. And I think WE realizing this is not important enough to contest right now. It's only soul point. So now, both teams on Chemtech soul point. Both teams with 2 Chemtech Drakes. And Jamada, this, I said I'd gained age. Looking at the Shanks play in the previous game, I've aged during this whole series is something else.
Yeah. I might need to look into some anti-aging cream or something. I'm feeling a lot older now, halfway through the day here. Local in the UK, of course. We're getting quite late in the night for China. I think we're encroaching on 10 p.m. over there. 6-game series, of course, or 6-game day for us on the broadcast, but a late start here and 3 games in is absurd.
Yeah, it's
what's
going to
going
be a long
on here
one
in this
for
game.
them. We do appear to have an attack of the lag. I'm not sure if Jamada's still with me, but if not, we'll steer this ship. Yeah, it's been a long one. It's been a tough one. And the players are going to be exhausted. And that's where veterancy often comes into play. Weibo, just pure veterans across the board. WE, though, I mean, a lot of these players extremely experienced. Certainly not the youngest roster in the league by any stretch. But his supers in the top lane not going to do too much aside from funnel gold towards Shanks here, as he's almost at 6 items on the Ryze. Xiaohu as well. Almost at that 6-item mark. Has the stopwatch to turn into a Zhonya's when he does have enough gold. The AD carries both completely stacked at this point. Hope almost finished upgrading that Zeal. And it does feel like it will all come down to this. Just a single fight could decide everything. And there's been a lot of weird picks. There's been a lot of moments where people are getting caught out, like taking a chunk. Hope flashing over the wall! Look at him go! He's so aggressive, and I love to see it as TheShy flashing onto him. Can he finish the AD carry? That's the question. He walks away, he's falling off.
They're on top of him.
Surely to go down here, the spawn gone as well, and he's taken out. Weibo have done it! Against everything, against scaling, against everything we talked about. Weibo make it happen anyway. A triple kill for TheShy, and they walk it on home.
Scaling doesn't matter. You saw it here first on the LPL, and Weibo will walk it home slowly but surely to an open Nexus. And WE, it's like sand falling between your hands as the prize frankly disintegrates in front of them, and Weibo will pick up their 10th series win, move in to the top. But it's not a confident look for Weibo.
No.
I think it has to be said. It's not a confident one. And again, questions of the consistency of this roster will likely have to be brought towards them, but live happy for now, taking down WE. And I think we just have to take a moment to say commiseration, because this was a series so close to being theirs that so many small things could have gone differently and they would have picked up the series win. Now hoping that taking down NIP will be enough. They're still in a pretty comfortable position, but with so many teams playing each other around that same 7-8, 7-7 mark, nothing's set in stone until the final game.